All right, here we are.
Welcome to the very first, the numero uno podcast of Anything Goes. My name is Anna Richards.
I'm Morgan Richards, the better half.
The other half, honey.
Oh, it's debatable.
And we are the dynamic duo, I feel like, of the podcast world at the moment, bringing you that
Just a big claim on podcast one.
But can you? I feel like you can.
It's a pretty big statement.
But I feel like this is the energy that I'm so excited to bring because I personally don't know any other podcast. Look, there's probably thousands, literally thousands out there.
We literally did no research.
That's a little bit of a lie, but of a husband and a wife duo that do this together, equal parties, with very different energies.
Yeah, and totally.
I suppose with that in mind, we should kind of dive into why we're here.
Yeah, so why we chose to start this part. Well, why don't we start with the name? So obviously, I came up with the name. I came up with the name because we didn't want to get pigeonholed into just doing like one topic, or just being, just we talk about business. Or
well, we went on a big walk. So here's how Morgan and I kind of like sort out our life. Now, first of all, we've been together
too long.
I feel like I'm just going to ban you from this podcast.
Podcast one, I'm out.
It's been real, guys. He's done.
Yeah.
He's off the podcast. No, we've been together for 13 years officially, and we've been married 6 years in October. And here's how we sort out all of our issues. We go for walks, don't we? And we kind of went on this walk and we were toing and froing, and I was like, the Anna and Morgan show. No, it can't be that. And then you were like, can't it just be the name means nothing? But I was like, no, words have power. We want to speak this into big existence. And then I think we'd come home by that stage and you were like, what about Anything Goes? And we loved it because the pigeonhole.
Yeah, and I liked it because there was like the whole, you could have gone to jail or come from Yale. We'll have you on and talk to you on this podcast about.
Yes.
Even if it's topics I don't know anything about, if people are controversial.
We like that.
Yeah, just to try and understand how people think and, what their point of view is on stuff. So we've got we won't say too much about who the guests are that we've got lined up, but we've got some great ones coming up.
We have some phenomenal guests, and that's kind of the ideology. So as a listener, obviously, we want you to understand that anything will go, but in a really intellectual perspective, in a funny perspective, in a banterish perspective, in a conversational perspective, in a motivational perspective. It's literally, that was such a good way to say it. We might have, I hope we do have someone from jail, and we're definitely going to have people from Yale, say, or whatever.
I'm sure there's a bunch of people I used to hang around with that when I was younger that are probably still in jail.
Definitely.
Do a live stream from jail.
We are going to, in other podcasts, definitely dive into our background as well and kind of more of our story and things like that. But we obviously did. You said before we did no research. Fake news. We did some, like a little bit of a Google.
I watch and listen to a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts. So
actually, no, we listen to podcasts every single day, and we decided, okay, this is the whole thing. We never for years we've been asked for many years, would you do a podcast? Have you considered doing a podcast? And it was always a hard no from me.
Yeah. Because
I just didn't want to commit. I don't know. I just was like, I don't have the desire. I just had absolutely no desire.
I didn't really understand what podcasts were for the longest time. I was like, what's a podcast? And I was like, there's people out there they're just talking shit on the internet. And I was like, and they're getting paid? I was like,
but
here I am, I'm talking shit for free like a sucker, right?
How dare you?
I know, that's not what it is. But
no. But the idea came when obviously 2020 has hit and the world has gone in an unbelievable turn in every single way. And I feel like so we both have wildly different whys. So for me, it was definitely like I wanted to have a platform uncensored where I could have interesting conversations. I could educate, empower, motivate, uplift, inspire, and everything in between, and kind of in that uncensored way, bring you things from the peppering that I get in my Instagram DMs every day. And then I know for you, as he drinks a sip of wine, we are having a glass of wine on
I like this format. because
Yes.
I'm not a massive, I mean, you know this, but I'm not a massive, I don't even think against social media, but I'm not a big, hey, I'm out there on social media kind of guy. I just, the whole format of like having to put up these like pretty pictures and then write all this stuff and try and get like a bit of a zing out in like,
A zing.
yeah, a zing
Hello.
out. Yeah, like catch people's attention with like a home
I
run
don't try
and
and
you
do
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you don't, but it
You're
comes
not that guy though. Yeah.
comes naturally for you.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm like, what as a photo, what do I say about it? I can't. It just doesn't.
Hello.
Do you know what I mean? But with
Yeah.
this format, I think this is more my style.
Yeah.
Like an actual and these aren't necessarily going to be long form podcasts, but some
I
might
think
be.
conversations and
Yeah.
interviews definitely will be. And just know as well, from our perspective, we're going to have very interesting people on. So Morgs and I know in some of the precursor stuff that we've done no pre kind of media, anything like prep, but I've definitely spoke to the power that we do have different opinions on lots of things.
Most things.
Most
I mean, like
No, we're-
values wise and morals wise
Matched.
but there's opinions about certain things like 5G. I'd love to get someone on who's like from University of Melbourne or something like that, full scientist, expert in radiation and millimeter, radio waves and all that sort of stuff. Have them come on and explain to us the science. Because here's the thing, you said there's going to be intellectual conversations. Again, I'm an idiot as well.
Same.
Like, again, I know some stuff, but I'm definitely going to say stuff where people are going to go, this guy's got no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, we've got all the gear, no idea.
Basically.
But we are very respectful. We're interested in people's perspective.
Yeah.
And I feel like we bring a calm, like interested to understand perspective to the podcasting world. And I know that we genuinely, the conversations that we have, and this is such a unique gift of ours, I do believe this, is as husband and wife. I mean, downstairs before, we were having a robust discussion. We don't debate about systemic racism.
Yeah.
Because obviously we are having this podcast. We are recording our first podcast in the heat of Black Lives Matters.
COVID-19.
I mean, everything. Yeah. And we were downstairs.
Aliens are up next.
Aliens are for sure they're nervous.
Yeah.
They are up in space with their three fingers.
Wouldn't that be weird if aliens came and like they weren't nice and then like all of a sudden whether you're black or white, it doesn't matter. Because
like
it just
we're against the aliens.
We become the human race rather than.
Well, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, it might be.
That's what we're pushing for. But yeah, no, but we have these interesting, robust discussions, never debates, and we can always calmly state our belief and perspective and go, oh, that's really interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. Or, really, like, I don't agree with that, but that's just an interesting take on it. And I do think we've grown, because God, we used to have some fights. I
think for me, like as I'm getting a bit older now, like I'm 36.
You're old.
Look, older people would say I'm still young. I'm
we're young. I'm just kidding. Old is the number. No, old is a feeling.
I think what I'm excited about is like I'm trying to not be married to my like opinions and my beliefs.
Like,
like,
be married.
do so many people. I think a lot of the problems, like the people see, they have these beliefs, and it becomes part of what makes up their identity and who they are. So if something challenges that, it's like you're attacking them and challenging them. Whereas I'm trying to get to be more aware that just to be not to just have something that you're going to put a stake in the ground on and that's where you're going to live and die.
And I think the power as well, just hearing that, I'm like, I think
just to try and have you just be open to having my mind changed.
Totally.
And I think if more people could try and like have that type of thing, there'd probably be less arguments.
Completely. And I think as well, the power with this podcast, we'll never ever try and convince anybody. That is just not our DMO, and not try and change anyone's values ever.
Yeah.
But I would love to influence this positive, optimistic energy of just influencing not being so offended.
Yeah.
And I think I do think, who knows? We literally, by the way, have no notes. We were like, let's just go.
We've got one thing. Actually,
we'll go into that. But the whole, this is cool. This is really fun because it's like that bounce off of, okay, well, why did we start it? It's definitely for different reasons. But again, it comes back to that whole values base of who we are. But I think often we have the conversation that so many people get so offended today and so upset and so angry when someone has a different opinion. But that's, I think, the problem.
Yeah.
And I think if we can all just come together and hear the other side. And again, so Morgs and I, like I said, we were really inspired to start it because we do vary on opinion so often. But we can navigate it so respectfully and calmly and maturely and often humorously and that's cool. So that's the energy we're going to have. So we definitely did do one Google and we looked up the statistics of
podcast.
Exactly.
Well, our statistic. There's like 800.
The statistics. So how many podcasts in the world are there right
I think
now?
it's like 800,000, but again, I can try and bring it up here on screen.
Well, there's 800,000 podcasts out in the world right now. And so we did not start this to add to the noise. That's what we want you to understand. We want this
There's
to
now 800,001.
But we wanted this to be a really interesting, dynamic, fun conversation that you get to have, like, listen to in the shower, listen to in the car. So I feel like sometimes, look, let's put this disclaimer.
Yeah.
We're going to be very real and very honest. If it's just us, obviously when we have guests on, if they're like I know we've contacted like professors of virology and politicians.
Still waiting on a response.
Well, politicians. And so there's going to be lots of interesting conversations.
Yeah, okay. So
They're probably not,
April 2020 podcast stats.
They're probably not going to swear. And we won't either. So there's 1 million.
Yeah, over 1 million.
There's over 1 million. But
30 million episodes.
30 million episodes.
Yeah.
But we can promise that we are not here to add to the noise. And we want to make sure that if you press play, we honor that. Time is something you can never get back.
Sure.
And so we are not adding to the 1,000,001.
Yeah.
Or the 30 million episodes. We want you to choose this empowered, knowing that every single episode you're going to get something, even if sometimes it's just a laugh.
Yeah, totally. And look, I'm just excited because just to get to this point, I think trying to even get this stuff, the microphone and all that sort of stuff in the heat of COVID-19, it's been a process. So I'm just glad that we're here now.
Yeah.
And we can do this because I can tell this is going to be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be fun. And we are, let's be honest, so we said, so this is our first podcast and this is going to be live as well. So if you're a visual kinesthetic person like myself.
It's not going to be live.
Let's wave. Well, it's not going to be live. Wave to the camera. We're waving. Hi. So we're always going to record these and have it up, not live, but recorded on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'll get to see us have these conversations and laugh, and I'm probably going to kick Morgan. I'm going to try not to. That would be my growth. Try and not kick Morgan under the table. But an idea that we had, let's go here now.
Yeah, because some people might listen to this who don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Or never met us or anything. Don't know who we are. Do you know who I am?
Don't know who I am.
No, I don't. You're an idiot on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
With an opinion I don't care about.
Okay.
But what? So explain this. What we're going to do for every guest.
We're going to do this for every guest. And basically, we've got a bunch of questions that we're going to have written down. They're going to follow this format or something similar. And
we're going to ask you guys though. So you're listening to this tonight.
Yeah. But
we're going to come to you guys and you're going to pick the questions.
And we're going to ask depending on who the guest is. If we can tell you who the guest is, then great. But in advance. But sometimes we might not be able to.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're going to do these to each other. So I'll ask you.
No, so Fast Five.
Yeah.
Are 5 questions that we're going to ask every single guest.
It's not a movie that we watched the other night.
No, I love that franchise.
It's so bad.
I don't care. I love that franchise.
The dialogue.
Vin Diesel, if he knocked on this door, honey.
He's a big baby. Every time. He's a big baby.
If he knocked on this door, I would be like, what wedding ring?
I'd be like, you lost, bro. I can't understand a word you're saying. You speak English?
What wedding ring? I am single AF. Come in, Vin. No, so Fast Five is the 5 questions that we are going to ask all guests, be it politician to jailbird, who knows who we're going to have on, just so you get a pulse of who they are. And we are very real. We have a lot of fun. And so we thought, what are some questions that we can ask to, and Morgs actually said, he's like, I want to break the ice with some of these guests. Like, we're going to have like professors and...
Tell me about your first sexual experience.
I was going to say something so inappropriate there, but I won't.
No.
Okay. Actually, can you say what you said to me before off?
The joke?
No.
Oh, that joke?
No.
Okay. Oh my Maybe another time when people get to know us.
No.
Which one?
Oh my God.
What I said to you off air?
You said to me, we said, what's your party trick? I'm not going to say it. It was just, we were kidding. And you go, I don't have one. I said, I'd probably say
Slut dropping.
Slut dropping.
Yeah.
I'm really good. I'm like, and for ladies and gentlemen at home, that is when I love hip hop and I get down and dirty and low.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I probably can't say that. And you said people.
I was like, fuck those people.
No, you said people.
People are going to talk shit about you anyway.
Exactly.
So you might as well just, that's what I said. I was like, I say a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to like narrow it down for me. I was like, people are going to talk shit about you and us anyway.
So
right? I was like, you might as well just be yourself.
And give them something to talk about.
Yeah.
I loved it, honey.
Yeah,
You're like the Tony Robbins of the inappropriate world.
Of the podcast world.
Oh.
Most dynamic podcast that ever existed. You said it here first. You said it. That's what you started with.
I did. And I'm going to own it and claim it.
Okay. So let's
do the fast five.
Okay.
And by the way, Morg's, he's just picked up the piece of paper. He's just reading these for the first time.
Okay. So name one guest you would have at your dinner party.
Oh, okay. So
we don't need a story. We just need the name.
So right now, honestly, coming out of COVID, 1 billion% I would have said Leslie Jordan. He's like my gunkle, my gay uncle. I'm claiming it. He's the guy that's like, hey, fellow Uncle Downers, what y'all doing?
Oh, he's got like that country side of voice.
Yeah, and he's like 70 billion years old.
He reminds me of a character from like Family Guy.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'd want him right next to me and I would drink 17 bottles of wine with him.
What's his name?
Leslie Jordan. There. He's right there.
He's an American.
But obviously right now with everything else happening, if I had to be a serious, like I've always said, so that's Leslie Jordan.
Okay.
He's just the best. He's phenomenal. But obviously I've always said as well Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Because I would just want to ask him how he remained so kind, compassionate, and calm throughout everything.
Okay.
Where do you go to find that peace?
All right.
Okay. Let me.
I'll do 5 for you, and then you can come back. So we'll just keep this going. So otherwise, it's just chopping back and forth.
Right.
Okay. Your favorite cuisine?
Mexican.
Mexican. Yeah.
That's why I married you.
I know because I look
You
Mexican.
look Mexican.
You like to eat Mexicans?
I like to.
Dirty girl. Okay. Best advice you've ever been given?
So best advice I've ever been given. So from David T.S. Wood.
I was going to say this shit.
Oh.
It's all right. Go on.
So this one, anyway. So anything and everything he says, but he always says how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And so
that's what I was going to say. It's
okay,
great.
cool.
So I've got another.
So if I step over a piece of litter and I ignore it, and you know this, you live with me day in and day out, and you're like, just move it. But I'm always like, if I step over a piece of litter and I leave it, well, what else am I ignoring in my life?
Yep.
What else? Like if I don't speak up when I should because I want to please someone, well, where else am I like ignoring having to speak up when I should?
Yeah.
So how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. It's funny. I had a year 5 teacher, Mr. George.
What will it?
At Strata Primary School in Perth, Western Australia.
Okay.
And he used to make us write A and B at the top left-hand side of every piece of paper.
I've never heard this story.
Yeah. And it's A and B stand for always my best.
Oh.
Yeah. It didn't. It lasted a year though. Before old Johnny cut corners. Become a teenager. I know there's a better way to do things, but there's got to be a faster way, right?
I feel like that is your life personified.
I'm like, fuck Mr. George.
How old were you?
How old was I?
What did you say? Year 5?
Year 6, I think.
Okay, so you were like 11.
No, it might have been year 5 or year 6. 10 or 11, yeah.
Oh my God.
I still remember it though. It's the only thing I remember from that school year.
Of course.
It's just him making us do that. So, yeah. Okay. So we just did best advice we've ever given. Okay, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So first I wanted to be a cop.
Okay.
Until Mum told me, because Christmas is everyone, I mean, if you know me, you know that Christmas is my favourite time of the year. So until Mum, I remember, sat me down and gingerly looked me in the eye and said, you know, sweetheart, do it. You'll be the best cop that the world's ever seen.
Yeah.
But you might have to work on Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out. I'm done. Bye. Yeah. I'm done. I never want to be a cop if I have to work on Christmas. And she also said, because I'm scared of the dark and I'm 32 years of age, and you know this, I'm still scared of the dark. Yeah. I will turn off lights downstairs.
It's true.
And sprint upstairs screaming. Shut the door.
Just imagine if you were a cop and it's like, you're in like there's like shit's about to go down and like the lights go out and like.
I would be on the floor crying. So yeah, so it was a cop and then it was a ballerina.
Okay. So, a cop. And if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Flying, like any flying.
Yeah. Okay.
Off I go.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Richard's turn. This is so fun. This is fun because I had no idea about Mr.
George, A and B.
A and B. All right, baby. Name one guest who you would have at your dinner party. And I need to approve of this person, obviously, because I would be there.
What do you think? Who do you think I'm going to invite? The Führer?
Pamela Anderson? I don't know.
What?
I'd love to hang out with her.
1992.
Okay, go.
Who would I invite? It's a great question. A lot of people spring to mind, but it'd probably be a musician of some sort. I'm going to narrow it down. I'm just trying to narrow. I'm working through the process in my head here to try and find it. And I'd probably have someone.
He honestly hasn't thought about this.
No, I don't. Or I just heard the question before, and I was more busy focusing on your questions. Are you winding me up? We've got cameras now.
No, I know. I'm like, come on.
I'm trying to think of someone who probably someone like Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols.
I honestly thought you'd probably be like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, or Joe Rogan. Be cool too.
Okay.
Someone just super interesting like that.
Yeah, but say who? Yeah,
well, Joe Rogan then. That's definitely. But I'm like, I'm trying to think of someone, historical as well. Yeah. Anyway, next question.
Okay. Favorite cuisine?
Pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza.
So pizza.
Or ribs pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So I love
cuisine, that's food. So I'm going to call you on that. Favorite cuisine, not
Favorite
meal.
cuisine is probably Mexican as a whole.
I just feel like we would
because it's not Italian.
Yeah. We love Italian.
Even though I've got Ossobuco cooking downstairs.
You do. And I'm so ready for it. Okay. So I'm super interested in this because I want to know what it is. Because I know it's David Wood. Best advice you've ever been given? Yeah, so, I mean, and again, it sounds derogatory, and it's a little bit. It can be perceived this way. Look, it's 2020. You say one thing wrong. Okay, let's go. I'm here for it.
People want to cancel you, right? We live in a cancel culture society.
Yeah.
But it was actually when we first started doing training with him at the very first event.
Yeah.
And he said a lot of people are taking advice from broke
and unhappy
people.
No, for sure.
And really what I like about it was it doesn't you can be broke and happy, and that's great, because money doesn't bring people happiness. But I think a lot of people, they have goals that they want to reach in their life, and this is how I related it back then. But the people that they're getting advice from aren't heading in the same direction, or they're not walking in the same path or taking the same steps. And I don't remember, I was 29 or 30 or something like that when I first heard that, and it changed a lot about the way I think about things, and not to try and discount anybody's opinion, but just to be mindful of what you take on and whose advice you're getting it from.
I want to do a whole podcast on that, honestly, actually, because we had a massive chat about this last night, and about how, and I mean, you said it to me before. Yeah. You were like, people are going to not like you anyway. Yeah. So give them something to talk about.
I think so as well.
I think sometimes you have to just.
It's really easy to take on other people's opinions and their expectations of you.
Yeah. So don't take advice from broken unhappy people.
Yeah, we nearly unpacked the whole can of worms there.
We're gonna actually do a whole podcast. We're actually gonna have him on. Yeah. He's gonna be our first guest. Surprise. Okay, so what? I don't know this. What did you want to be when you grow up?
There was a couple of things.
I'm embarrassed that I don't know.
There's a couple of things. My mum will tell a story. At one point, I wanted to be an actor.
You're kidding.
Hollywood. But then I found not now.
Kidding me?
Not now. I see what they do to people in Hollywood. No, thank you. But I was like, one day I woke up. I think I was like 7, and I went to Mum's room, woke her up. I was like, Mum, I want to be an actor and I want to be famous. And I was like, who do I need to speak to? Who's the man? What's his name? Yeah.
Guys, we have been together for 13 years.
Yeah, and then I was like, I got wise. I was like, who makes the most money? My dad was like, doctors or lawyers. I was like, I want to be a lawyer then.
Okay, so it was
one of those two. Yeah, as a kid.
Okay. This is insane.
But I was like, people in Hollywood are assholes and so are lawyers. So
not all, honey.
Oh, well, I know. Look, we're going to generalize a lot on this podcast. So just get used to it.
Comfortable. All right. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
So it's not flight. I think flight's great, but probably like invulnerability. So
Invulnerability?
Yeah, so you can be shot and not die. You could smash through walls, fall off buildings.
Invulnerability?
Yeah.
Is that what
if
that
you're
means?
invulnerable, that means you have no weaknesses, right?
Ah.
Yeah, so invulnerability.
But you have no weaknesses. But
Yeah.
death isn't a weakness.
I would say there's a lot of people who would disagree with that
No,
statement.
death is a certainty.
Not if you're invulnerable. What's going to kill you? Nothing. Not even death
A
itself.
bullet?
These are the hypothetical comic book geek conversations
Okay.
that people have. Invulnerable. Nothing can kill me.
Okay, so...
And maybe I die of old age.
Okay.
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 Wolverine, invulnerable.
Okay.
Right?
That would make you savage, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay,
You'd just
perfect.
yeah. So yeah, was that it? Super.
All right, beautiful. I think this is going to be really fun because I feel like those that know us really well know that Morgan is the you're not the non-talker. You talk a lot to me. You talk a lot of shit.
I just don't do Instagram stories.
You don't
and
do,
bush.
and you just don't like.
Oh, hey guys, I'm just like out the back doing some boring shit. Like no one cares. People, I like to say no one cares, but the fucked up thing is people are actually interested in that. It's
what do you always say to me? All right, guys, here's for
What?
me. You're like, here's another story that's
gotta
going
go
nowhere.
Yeah, I said that once.
Anyway.
People loved it.
People loved
let's
it.
not
But
discredit.
I feel like I've just learnt more, not more about you than I ever have, but I've just learnt that you had a beautiful teacher that taught you a lesson that I'm.
Well, he was, to be fair, he said this thing, right, where if you weren't listening or you were talking, he'd have one of those old, like, big, long rulers.
Remember those days?
This one, and because it was chalkboard. I don't know what kids have now.
Like whiteboards and iPads.
Okay, so we didn't
It
have...
was like when I say whiteboards, I mean like clever whiteboards.
So we had notepads, not notebooks, they're computers, notepads.
Yeah.
Written, right?
Yeah.
And a blackboard. And what he would used to do when people were talking, not listening, is he'd get that ruler. And no, he'd just smash it on the...
Legend.
On the
I
blackboard.
would.
Scare the shit out of you.
Oh, honestly, I would.
I remember I had this other teacher, Mr. Sloan. He's probably a great guy, but we were just shitty kids, right? But I remember he used to tower over us, and because whenever we were in trouble, he'd be yelling down at us. But he always had like massive nose hair, so you'd be looking up. And I remember a friend of mine, Aiden Lee, used to
Aiden, I remember Aiden.
He used to tell. He's always in trouble, and he used to be like, he'd look up, and then he'd be counting his nose hair.
Tell everyone at recess. Oh God.
Yeah,
Well, see, this is so. What I love about this. If you know us and you love us and you follow us already, then you know that. I feel like you're going to get to see the Morgan that I always see, the wildly inappropriate, says shoots from the hip. Actually super funny, has a lot to say. You just don't like the platforms that are currently available to say it. So this is the Anything Goes podcast, and we are so excited to continue to bring it to you.
I'm excited too. Can't wait for get our next guest on.
Our first guest on, actually. He's going to be our very first guest.
Might have our neighbours around one night, do a booze cast.
We are definitely going to do that. But they're phenomenally successful.
Yeah.
And we will definitely ask them all the right questions.
Yeah.
But let's leave it there. We didn't keep track of time.
No.
Probably.
This guy's still on screen.
No. I've like stared at him the whole time, Leslie Jordan.
Yeah.
But
so that's it. So welcome to the Anything Goes podcast. If you maybe we're several podcasts in, you're just coming back. If you're just doing a catch up, welcome.
Welcome.
We're excited, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to talk more and bring you more, and probably get in trouble and have people want to cancel us and well, me, not you. You never say anything wrong.
I do. I definitely do. No, but this is the thing, right? So yeah, we just want to have an uncensored platform. So I'm really excited. And again, obviously, I'm going to launch this, and we are going to launch this at a very critical, pivotal, emotional moment in our history. It's 2020. We're from Australia, so the bushfires ravaged our country, and then we went literally straight into COVID, and now we are in the angst and the heat and the emotion of Black Lives Matter. But this is why we are launching this podcast, to give a voice and a platform and power to people that we want to have a voice in these moments that you need to hear. Yeah. And our own as well. Like, I'm obviously have that political background. Morgs is just a wise old inappropriate sage who...
Oof, I don't know about that.
No, you are. And I think it's really important. So we're going to launch this. I know lots of people have opinions about... so if you're listening back to this, what a critical, beautiful... I think it's cool to put a timestamp on it as well. Yeah. Moment in time.
What is the date? What is the date?
I don't even know. But moment in history where...
It's the 5th of June. Yeah,
that this is a time that people would never dream of putting a podcast out. But I think for myself, knowing the heart and emotion of the matter, it's time.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to keep bringing these to you. So I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, I'm good. We're going to
Okay.
wrap this up. I got Ossobuco downstairs. I say it like I'm Italian. I'm not Italian.
Ossobuco.
I look like one. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't even know
You
if
look
I'm
Mexican.
I'm probably
you
not
look Italian.
I don't
you
even
look
know
Spanish.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But we're gonna have dinner, another glass of wine. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon.
We'll both think of a tagline for the next one.
Yeah, and that noise you hear occasionally is not me fighting. That's our dog, Zeus, snoring.
Our first child.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.